My boyfriend and his friends stood in the doorway laughing while I was exposed on the toilet during our ski trip. Day 4 of the ski trip. My boyfriend, his 5 friends, and me. The rental house bathroom doors didn't lock properly. My stomach was upset from pizza and beer. I went to the main floor bathroom. I'm sitting there when the doorknob turns. "I'm in here." His female friend barges in anyway. "Oh my god, she's pooping. It smells so bad. Get out." Instead, she throws the door wide open. 3 guys are standing in the hallway. I'm completely exposed, pants down on the toilet. "Shut the door." They just stood there laughing, pointing, making jokes about the smell. My boyfriend comes over. I think he's going to help. Instead, he walks into the bathroom. Holy shit, it really does stink. Then leaves. Doesn't shut the door. Doesn't stop them. Just makes it worse. I'm sitting there, completely vulnerable, while they're all in the doorway laughing. I start crying, screaming for them to leave. Finally, after what felt like hours, they shut the door. When I came out, all 6 started howling with laughter again. My boyfriend was laughing the hardest. I looked him in the eyes, tears streaming. He kept laughing. I packed everything, changed my flight, booked an airport hotel. When I came down with my bags, they laughed again until my boyfriend noticed. "Where the fuck are you going?" "Airport. It was just a joke. Lighten up. You're overreacting." Not one apology. He was angry I was leaving, not sorry for what he'd done. I spent the night crying in a hotel. Flew home next morning. His text started apologetic. "Baby, I'm sorry, we were drunk." Then angry. "You ruined the trip." Then accusatory. "You can't take a joke." Everyone says I overreacted. Boys will be boys. Harmless prank. But I keep replaying it. The vulnerability. Being exposed. My boyfriend choosing to mock me instead of protect me. Drunk actions reflect sober thoughts, right? The girl who opened the door posted on Instagram, "Some people can't handle fun drama queens." My boyfriend liked it. I packed his things. He could find them outside. I was done being the punchline. But then I got curious. Checked his Instagram. He'd posted stories from after I left. They'd gone to a bar. Met some girls. In one video, he's doing shots with a blonde. Caption, "Finally having fun without the buzzkill." Next story, him and the blonde kissing. His friend filming, laughing. "Upgrade," someone shouts. I screenshot everything. Then I noticed something else. The girl who opened the bathroom door, Anna, she'd posted a story earlier that day, before the bathroom incident. A mirror selfie in my boyfriend's shirt, the one I'd bought him for Christmas. Caption, "Comfy morning." Morning, before everyone else was awake. I scrolled back through her posts. There were signs everywhere. Inside jokes with my boyfriend. Them sitting together in every group photo. Her wearing his hoodie 2 months ago with heart emojis. My phone rings. It's Tom, one of the guys from the trip. The quiet one who hadn't laughed as much. "Hey, I need to tell you something." "What?" "The bathroom thing. It wasn't random. Anna planned it." "What do you mean?" "She knew you were in there. We all heard you say you were going to the bathroom. She waited, then barged in on purpose." "Why?" "Because she's been sleeping with your boyfriend since October. This whole trip was about them. You were just in the way." My stomach dropped. "They've been hooking up every night after you go to bed. That's why he didn't stop us from laughing. He wanted you to leave." "You all knew?" "We found out this trip. He told us to be cool about it. The bathroom thing was Anna's idea to make you leave early so they could be together openly. And you all just went along with it? I'm sorry. I should have said something. But there's more." "More?" "Anna's pregnant. Found the test in their bathroom trash. That's why your boyfriend was so desperate for you to leave. They're planning to tell everyone once you're officially broken up." I hang up. Can't breathe. My phone buzzes. Text from my boyfriend. "Just landed. Where are my things? We need to talk." Another text. "Anna told me you know. It's better this way." Another. "At least now you don't have to pretend you didn't see this coming." I didn't see it coming. Not any of it. Another text, this time from Anna. "Thanks for leaving early. Made everything easier. BTW, I'm keeping the ski house rental deposit since you broke the agreement by leaving. Consider it payment for your drama." The rental was in my name. I paid the deposit. My phone rings. It's my boyfriend. They're both outside. I stand at my apartment window watching them both get out of his car, and my hands are shaking so hard I have to grip the windowsill. Anna's standing close to him, her hand on her stomach in a way that makes the pregnancy impossible to ignore. My phone buzzes with another text from him demanding I let him in, but I'm not opening that door. I can see his mouth moving as he looks up at my window, probably yelling something, but I can't hear him through the glass. Anna's touching his arm, leaning into him like they're a couple, like she has every right to be there. Another text pops up, this one from Anna saying she just wants to talk like adults. I delete it without responding. My hands won't stop shaking. I grab my phone and call Cassie, my best friend from college who lives 20 minutes away. She answers on the second ring and I can barely get the words out. Within 20 minutes of my frantic call, Cassie's car pulls into the parking lot, and the relief of having someone on my side makes me start crying again. She gets out and walks right past them without even looking, her face set in this determined expression I've only seen a few times. She comes straight to my door and I let her in, and she immediately goes to the window. She takes one look at the situation through the window and immediately starts photographing them from inside my apartment with her phone. She's getting shots of them standing together, of Anna's hand on her stomach, of the garbage bags with his stuff scattered across the parking lot. My boyfriend notices and starts gesturing angrily at the window. Cassie snaps more photos. I'm grateful someone's thinking clearly because I'm barely holding it together. My legs feel weak and I sit down on the couch, watching Cassie work. She turns to me with her phone still recording and her voice is firm and steady. My boyfriend starts yelling from the parking lot about his belongings getting ruined in the weather, but Cassie yells back through the closed window that he should have thought about that before cheating. Her voice is loud enough that I can hear it echo slightly in my apartment. Anna tries to approach my door and Cassie immediately pulls out her phone again, this time calling the police non-emergency line to report trespassing. I can hear her explaining the situation calmly to the operator, describing how my ex-boyfriend and his pregnant girlfriend are refusing to leave my property after I ask them to collect their belongings and go. The operator says an officer will come by to ensure the situation stays peaceful. Cassie hangs up and comes to sit next to me on the couch, putting her arm around my shoulders. While we wait for the police, I show Cassie all the Instagram evidence on my phone, scrolling through the screenshots I took last night. I show her Tom's text messages revealing the planned bathroom attack, the timeline of the affair, everything. I show her the texts from Anna about keeping the rental deposit, the ones where she basically admits to the whole conspiracy. Cassie's face goes from shock to rage as she processes everything, her jaw getting tighter with each new piece of evidence. She takes my phone and starts scrolling herself, zooming in on photos, reading every caption. When she gets to the part about Anna wearing his Christmas shirt, she actually gasps. When she reads Tom's messages about the pregnancy and the planned humiliation, her hands start shaking. She looks at me with this expression of pure anger and disbelief. She's already Googling tenant rights lawyers on her phone with her other hand, her fingers moving fast across the screen. She pulls up 3 different law firm websites and starts reading reviews out loud. She's making notes in her phone about which ones specialize in rental disputes and theft. Every few seconds, she glances out the window to make sure they're still out there, still waiting. My phone keeps buzzing with more texts from him, getting angrier each time. Cassie grabs it and puts it on silent, setting it face down on the coffee table. She tells me I don't need to read any more of his manipulation right now. She's right. The police officer arrives about 15 minutes later, and I can see his patrol car pull up through the window. He's a tall guy, maybe in his 40s, with a calm, professional manner. He gets out and immediately approaches my ex-boyfriend and Anna in the parking lot. I can see them talking, my ex gesturing wildly with his hands, probably trying to charm his way out of trouble. The officer listens for a minute, then walks up to my door. Cassie answers when he knocks and explains that since it's my apartment and his belongings are outside, I have every right to refuse him entry. The officer nods and asks to speak with me. I come to the door but stay inside, and he's very polite and professional. He asks if those are my ex-boyfriend's belongings outside, and if I want him to leave the property. I say yes to both. My boyfriend tries to interrupt from the parking lot, calling me dramatic and unstable, saying I'm having some kind of breakdown. The officer holds up his hand to silence him and turns back to me, asking if I feel safe. I tell him about the bathroom incident, about the affair, about the threatening texts. The officer's expression changes, becoming more serious. He tells my ex-boyfriend to collect his things and leave the property within 10 minutes or face trespassing charges. His voice is firm and leaves no room for argument. My ex starts to protest, but the officer cuts him off, explaining that this is private property and I have the right to refuse him access. Anna starts crying right on cue, her hand going to her stomach again in that obvious way. She's claiming she feels faint from the pregnancy, swaying a little like she might fall over. She's trying to manipulate sympathy from the officer, doing this whole damsel in distress routine. The officer asks if she needs medical attention and she says no, just needs to sit down. Cassie loudly mentions from my doorway that Anna was healthy enough to plan a bathroom humiliation attack 4 days ago, her voice carrying across the parking lot. She describes the incident in detail, how Anna deliberately barged in on me, how she threw the door open to expose me to everyone. The officer's expression shifts again, and he looks at Anna with less sympathy now. He tells them both they have 10 minutes to collect the belongings and vacate the property, and he'll wait right here to ensure compliance. Anna's tears dry up pretty quickly after that. She shoots Cassie a look of pure hatred. My ex is staring up at my window with this mix of anger and disbelief on his face, like he can't understand why I'm not backing down. The officer crosses his arms and stands next to his patrol car, making it clear he's not going anywhere. My ex starts grabbing garbage bags roughly, shoving them into his car trunk with angry movements. Some of his clothes fall out onto the wet pavement and he has to pick them up. It would almost be funny if I wasn't still shaking. I watch from the window as my now ex-boyfriend frantically loads garbage bags into his car while Anna sits in the passenger seat on her phone. He keeps looking up at my window with this expression that's half pleading, half angry, like he's trying to figure out if I'm really going through with this. One bag rips and his stuff spills across the parking lot. He has to chase down a shirt that starts blowing away in the wind. He's getting wet from the light rain that started a few minutes ago. Anna's not helping at all, just sitting there scrolling on her phone, occasionally taking selfies. The officer stands there watching the whole thing with his arms crossed, making sure they actually leave. It takes my ex 3 trips to get everything into his car. Some of the bags won't fit in the trunk, so he has to shove them in the back seat. Cassie stands next to me and squeezes my hand, reminding me I'm doing the right thing by protecting myself. She tells me I'm being strong, that I'm not letting them walk all over me anymore. I can see my ex slamming his trunk closed, then getting in the driver's seat. Anna's still on her phone. They sit there for a minute and the officer walks over to the car window. I can see him pointing toward the exit. Finally, the car starts, and they drive away. The officer watches until they're completely gone from the parking lot. After they leave, the officer comes back to my door and gives me his card. He suggests I document everything in case I need a restraining order later, especially if the harassment continues. He mentions the bathroom incident could potentially be investigated as assault or sexual harassment if I want to pursue charges, since it was a deliberate act meant to humiliate and expose me without consent. The words assault and sexual harassment make it feel more real somehow, more serious than just a mean prank. He says I should keep all the text messages, screenshots, and any other evidence. He tells me to call immediately if either of them comes back to the property. I'm overwhelmed, but I take his card and thank him, knowing I need time to process what legal options I actually want to pursue. Cassie thanks him too and walks him out. When she comes back inside, she locks the door behind her and turns to me. She says we need to make copies of everything, back it all up, make sure we have evidence they can't delete or deny. She's already thinking 3 steps ahead while I'm still trying to process what just happened. She goes to my kitchen and makes us both tea, moving around like she owns the place, which is exactly what I need right now. Someone taking charge because I can't. That night, Cassie stays over and we go through my phone together, screenshotting every text, Instagram post, and piece of evidence before anyone can delete anything. She has me email everything to her and to myself, so there are multiple copies in different places. She helps me create a detailed timeline of the affair based on Anna's social media posts going back months. We go through Anna's entire Instagram history, and the evidence of their relationship is everywhere once I know what to look for. Inside jokes in the comments that I thought were just friendly banter. Matching locations on the same days when he told me he was working late. Her wearing his clothes in photos I'd somehow missed or explained away. There's a photo from September where they're at some bar together and his hand is on her lower back. Another from October where she's wearing his jacket. In November, there are at least 5 photos where they're standing too close, looking at each other in a way that's more than friendly. The Christmas shirt photo from the ski trip morning is just the most obvious one. Cassie takes notes on everything, building a comprehensive document with dates, locations, and descriptions. She's treating this like a legal case, which I guess it kind of is now with the rental deposit theft. We work until almost midnight, going through months of posts and comments and tagged photos. By the end, we have a file with over 50 screenshots, and a timeline that clearly shows the affair started in October, just like Tom said. Cassie saves everything to a cloud drive and texts the link to herself and to me. She tells me we're prepared now, that we have everything we need to fight back. My brother Gavin calls after Cassie texted him what happened, and his voice on the phone is furious in that protective older brother way that makes me start crying again. He's asking if I'm okay, if they hurt me, if he needs to come over right now. Cassie takes the phone and explains the situation to him more calmly than I could. I can hear his voice getting louder through the speaker. He offers to come stay with me for a few days, handle any confrontations, and help me figure out the rental deposit situation. He's a paralegal, so he actually knows about this stuff, about contracts and tenant law and what Anna's trying to do. Cassie hands the phone back to me, and Gavin's voice is gentler now, asking what I need. I'm exhausted but grateful, and I tell him to come tomorrow because I need family right now. He says he'll be here first thing in the morning with breakfast and his laptop, and we're going to fix this. He tells me to try to sleep, that Cassie's there, and I'm safe. After we hang up, Cassie makes up the couch for herself, even though I offer her my bed. She says she wants to be in the living room in case anyone tries to come back tonight. She's being my guard dog, and I love her for it. I finally go to my bedroom around 1 in the morning, completely drained. I can hear Cassie moving around in the living room, probably still going through evidence or researching lawyers. I lie in bed staring at the ceiling, replaying everything that happened today. The confrontation in the parking lot, the officer making them leave, all those Instagram photos showing months of lies. But mostly I keep thinking about how I stood my ground, how I didn't let them in, how I'm not backing down. It's a small victory, but it feels huge. I lie in bed staring at the ceiling, unable to shut my brain off. Every time I close my eyes, I see that bathroom door flying open, Anna's face twisted in fake shock, those guys standing there laughing. Tom's words keep playing on repeat in my head. They planned it. Anna knew I was in there. She waited for the perfect moment to humiliate me. My ex wanted me to leave so he could be with her openly. I pull the blanket tighter around myself, but I can't stop shaking. The cruelty of it makes my stomach hurt. They sat around planning how to make me so uncomfortable I'd pack up and go home early. Every single person on that trip knew what was happening except me. I was the joke, the obstacle, the thing standing between them and their perfect affair weekend. Around 3 in the morning, I finally drift off into restless sleep, filled with nightmares about doors that won't lock and people laughing while I cry. Cassie shakes me awake around 8, and for a second I forget everything that happened. Then it all crashes back and I groan into my pillow. My phone is buzzing on the nightstand. I reach for it and see a wall of texts from my ex. The first few are apologetic, calling me baby and saying we need to talk, claiming he made a mistake. But as I scroll down, they get uglier. He's saying Anna came on to him, that he was drunk and confused, that the pregnancy might not even be his. Then he switches tactics and says I'm overreacting to a complicated situation, that I'm being dramatic and unreasonable. Cassie sits on the edge of my bed and reads over my shoulder. She points at the screen and starts listing every manipulation tactic he's using: gaslighting, blame shifting, minimizing, playing the victim, love bombing mixed with guilt trips. I listen to her break down his texts like she's analyzing a case study, and something clicks in my brain. He's following a playbook. These aren't genuine apologies or explanations. He's trying to manipulate me back into accepting his behavior. I open my phone settings, find his number, and hit block. The screen confirms he's blocked, and I feel this small surge of power run through me. He can't text me anymore. He can't call. He can't send me any more of his manipulation tactics. Cassie high-fives me and says that's the first step to taking back control. The doorbell rings around 10, and Gavin is standing there with 3 bags of groceries and a laptop bag over his shoulder. He hugs me tight, and I almost start crying again. But he pulls back and says, "We're not crying today. We're taking action." He unpacks the groceries in my kitchen, making sure I have actual food since apparently Cassie told him I haven't been eating. Then he sets up his laptop at my dining table and cracks his knuckles like he's about to go to war. He's a paralegal at a law firm downtown, and he immediately starts pulling up tenant law websites and rental agreement statutes. I sit next to him and watch him work, typing notes and opening multiple browser tabs. Within an hour, he's found exactly what we need. He turns the laptop toward me and points at the screen. Anna has no legal right to keep money from a rental agreement she wasn't part of. The deposit was paid by me, the agreement was signed by me, and her text message claiming she's keeping it actually counts as attempted theft. He's already started drafting a formal response, and he walks me through every section. This is evidence. This is leverage. This is how we fight back. We spend the next few hours putting together a demand letter. Gavin helps me find the original rental agreement in my email, and we attach it to a document file he's creating. He has me log into my bank account and download the payment receipt showing my credit card charged for the full deposit amount. Then we add screenshots of Anna's text message where she claims she's keeping the money. Gavin types up a formal letter with legal language that sounds way more official than anything I could have written. It demands the full deposit amount returned within 7 days, and it includes a warning that failure to comply will result in legal action for theft and breach of contract. We send it via certified mail so there's tracking and proof of delivery, and Gavin also sends it to the email address Anna used to contact the rental company. He saves copies of everything to a cloud drive and emails them to both of us. Then he sits back and says, "Now we wait, but we've put them on notice that I'm not backing down." Taking concrete action instead of just crying feels amazing. I actually feel like I have some control over at least one part of this mess. My phone rings in the afternoon, and it's Nikki from work. I almost don't answer because I'm not ready to talk to anyone else yet, but Cassie encourages me to pick up. Nikki sounds upset and says she needs to tell me something. Apparently the ski trip drama has reached our workplace because someone saw the Instagram posts and started talking. Nikki has seen the photos from the trip, including the one Anna posted calling me a drama queen, and she wants me to know she's completely on my side. Then she drops another bomb. She says my ex has been flirting with the receptionist at his office for months. Multiple people there have noticed and talked about it. Some of his coworkers actually think he's sketchy and have been uncomfortable with how he treats women in the office. Nikki heard this from her friend who works in the same building. The validation from someone outside my immediate circle makes me feel less insane. I'm not overreacting. Other people see his behavior as problematic too. I thank Nikki for calling and for having my back, and she says if I need anything at all, she's there. After we hang up, I tell Cassie and Gavin what she said, and Gavin just shakes his head and mutters that my ex is even worse than he thought. My phone buzzes with a text from Tom in the late afternoon. He's checking on me and apologizing again for not speaking up sooner during the trip. His message is long and detailed. He explains that he didn't realize the full extent of the affair until after I left, when my ex and Anna stopped hiding it completely. They were all over each other the rest of the trip, and Tom felt sick watching it happen. He says he should have said something during the bathroom incident, should have told them to stop, should have defended me. He knows sorry doesn't fix it, but he wants me to know he feels terrible. Then he offers something that makes me sit up straight. He says if I decide to pursue any legal action related to the bathroom attack, he'll provide a written statement about what happened. He'll document that Anna planned it, that everyone knew I was in the bathroom, that it was premeditated harassment. I screenshot his message and show it to Gavin, who immediately says we should take him up on that offer. Even if I don't pursue legal action now, having that statement on record could be useful later. I text Tom back thanking him and telling him I'll let him know if I need the statement. Then I save his offer in a note on my phone for future reference. I decide to call the ski resort rental company directly to get documentation of the deposit payment. I find the confirmation email with the property manager's phone number and dial before I can overthink it. A man answers and introduces himself as Mitchell Ferrari. I explain the situation as calmly as I can, telling him about the rental in my name, the deposit I paid, and Anna's attempt to claim she's keeping it. Mitchell is surprisingly sympathetic and immediately says he'll help. He puts me on hold for a few minutes, then comes back and says he's emailing me copies of all the receipts showing my credit card payment for the deposit. Then he mentions something that makes my jaw drop. Anna actually called him yesterday trying to get the deposit transferred to her name. She claimed I abandoned the rental early, and she took over responsibility for it. Mitchell refused because she wasn't on the original rental agreement and had no legal right to make changes. He told her the deposit would be returned to the credit card on file, which is mine, according to the standard refund policy. He sounds genuinely annoyed that she tried to pull that, and he assures me he'll document her attempt to fraudulently claim my money. I thank him repeatedly and hang up feeling even more validated. Anna isn't just trying to steal from me in private. She's actively calling businesses and attempting fraud. My phone rings from a number I don't recognize, and I answer without thinking. A woman's voice asks if this is me, and I say yes before I realize it's my ex's mother. She's crying so hard I can barely understand her at first. She apologizes over and over, saying she had no idea her son was capable of this kind of betrayal. She saw the Instagram posts from mutual friends and confronted him about everything. He admitted the affair, admitted the bathroom incident was planned, admitted he wanted me to leave early. She sounds absolutely devastated. She tells me she's ashamed of him, that she didn't raise him to treat people this way, that she can't believe he did this to me. She says she always hoped I'd be her daughter-in-law someday, and now she's heartbroken that her son destroyed that possibility. She understands if I never want to speak to their family again, but she needed me to know she's horrified by his actions. Before she hangs up, she mentions that Anna's family doesn't know about the pregnancy yet. When they find out about the affair and the baby, there's going to be massive fallout. Her voice cracks when she says she's so sorry, and then the line goes quiet. The conversation with his mother breaks something open inside me that I've been holding back. I start crying harder than I have since the bathroom incident itself. Cassie wraps her arms around me while Gavin awkwardly pats my shoulder. His mother's words keep echoing in my head. She deserved so much better. She always hoped I'd be her daughter-in-law. She's devastated by what he did. Hearing his own mother validate my pain and condemn his actions makes it feel more real somehow. I'm not crazy. I'm not overreacting. Even his mother thinks what he did was unforgivable. I cry into Cassie's shoulder for a long time, letting out all the hurt and humiliation and betrayal I've been carrying. When I finally calm down enough to breathe normally, Cassie suggests something I've been avoiding. She thinks I should see a therapist to process the trauma. I immediately resist because admitting I need therapy feels like admitting how much this damaged me. But that night, after Cassie and Gavin both leave, I try to use my own bathroom and have a full panic attack. The humiliation floods back so intensely I can't breathe. I'm sitting on my bathroom floor hyperventilating, and I realize Cassie was right. I can't handle this alone. I need professional help. I pull out my phone and search for therapists who take my insurance. I find one with good reviews and an opening tomorrow afternoon. I book an emergency appointment before I can talk myself out of it. Then I text Cassie that she was right and I'm seeing someone tomorrow. She responds immediately with a heart emoji and says she's proud of me for taking that step. The therapist's office is in a quiet building downtown, and I sit in the waiting room trying not to have a panic attack about being here. A woman in her 50s opens the door and introduces herself, her voice calm and steady in a way that makes me feel like maybe I can actually do this. We sit in her office and she asks me to tell her what happened, and I start talking about the ski trip, about the bathroom, about finding out everything was planned. She listens without interrupting, taking notes occasionally, and when I finish, she looks at me with this expression that's both sad and angry on my behalf. She uses words I haven't heard before to describe what happened to me. She calls it a coordinated attack, emotional abuse, conspiracy to cause distress. She explains that what they did wasn't just mean or thoughtless, but deliberately designed to humiliate and harm me. She tells me my trauma response is completely normal, that anyone would be struggling after experiencing that level of violation and betrayal. She validates every feeling I've had, every moment I thought I was overreacting or being too sensitive. By the end of the session, I'm crying again, but it's different this time. It's relief. Someone with professional training and years of experience is telling me I'm not crazy. I'm not dramatic. I'm responding exactly how a healthy person should respond to abuse. I leave her office feeling lighter than I have in days, like someone finally understands the full weight of what was done to me. 4 days pass and I'm starting to feel like maybe I can breathe again when Gavin calls me at work. Anna's lawyer sent a response to our demand letter, and Gavin's laughing so hard he can barely get the words out. The lawyer claims I abandoned the rental property, and therefore forfeited any right to the deposit. Gavin reads me sections of the letter, pointing out all the legal mistakes and weak arguments. He responds immediately with our evidence. The rental agreement in my name, my payment receipts, Mitchell's statement about Anna trying to fraudulently transfer the deposit, text messages proving I left because of harassment. He ends his response with a reminder that attempting to keep someone else's money is theft, and theft is a criminal matter, not just civil. Within 2 hours, the lawyer sends another email, and this time the tone is completely different. The aggressive posturing is gone, replaced by careful language about working something out and finding a reasonable solution. Gavin forwards me the email and adds a note at the bottom. They're scared. We've got them. I read the lawyer's backtracking and feel a surge of satisfaction. Standing up for myself is actually working. That night, I'm scrolling through my phone when a message request pops up from an account I don't recognize. I open it and immediately know it's my ex from the writing style and the things he references. He's created a fake account to get around my blocks. The message starts sweet, telling me he misses me and made a terrible mistake. I block the account and 3 more pop up over the next hour. The messages get angrier with each new account. One claims I'm ruining his life by turning people against him, as if he wasn't the one who publicly humiliated me and posted videos of himself kissing another woman. Another threatens to sue me for defamation because I told people what he did. I screenshot every single message, every fake account name, every threat and manipulation attempt. My evidence file is getting huge, folder after folder of his harassment and Anna's theft attempt and the Instagram posts and Tom's statement. I save everything to 3 different places because Gavin told me to always have backups. Each new fake account he creates just adds more proof of his harassment. He's making this easier for me without even realizing it. The next morning, Nikki calls me before I even get to the office. She sounds excited in that way people get when they have really good gossip. My ex got called into HR at his workplace yesterday. Someone, she doesn't know who, reported his Instagram posts from the ski trip as creating a hostile work environment. Several of his coworkers apparently found his behavior toward me disturbing enough to file formal complaints. She tells me he's facing a review and possible disciplinary action. The company takes harassment seriously, even if it happened outside of work, because it reflects on their values and culture. I sit in my car in the parking lot processing this information. I didn't report him to his job. I didn't contact his employer. Other people saw what he did and were bothered enough by it to take action on their own. The consequences are starting to happen without me having to force them. People are holding him accountable just by seeing his own posts, his own words, his own actions. Nikki asks if I'm okay, and I realize I'm smiling. I tell her I'm better than okay. Tom emails me that afternoon with an attachment. He's written out a detailed statement about the bathroom incident, including dates, times, and specific details about what happened. But the attachment also includes screenshots from the group text chat, messages I never saw before. Anna explicitly planning to catch me on the toilet. Her writing out the plan to make it so awkward I would leave. Other people in the chat responding with laughing emojis and suggestions. The premeditation is right there in writing, impossible to deny. Tom's statement explains he feels guilty for not stopping it, that he should have spoken up when he knew what Anna was planning. He offers to testify if I decide to take legal action, to provide any additional information I need, to help make things right however he can. I forward everything to Gavin and he responds within minutes. This is gold. This proves everything. We have them completely. I save the screenshots and statement in my evidence file, which now contains enough proof to bury both of them if I need to. 2 days later, Anna's lawyer sends a settlement offer. They'll return the full deposit plus $500 if I sign an agreement saying I won't discuss the affair or bathroom incident publicly. Gavin calls me immediately after reading it. He explains this proves they're terrified of legal exposure. The offer of extra money, the demand for silence, the quick turnaround, it all shows they know they're in serious trouble. We draft a counteroffer together. Full deposit, $2,000 for emotional distress, and absolutely no agreement to stay quiet. What they did is a matter of public record now through all the social media posts and witness statements. They can't force me into silence. Gavin sends the counteroffer and tells me to expect them to come back with something in the middle. The power has shifted. They're desperate and we're in control. For the first time since the ski trip, I feel like I'm the one calling the shots. They humiliated me, but now they're the ones scrambling to contain the damage. The next afternoon, Gavin's phone rings and he steps into another room to take the call. When he comes back, he looks surprised. That was my ex's father. He called to apologize for his son's behavior and offer to personally make sure the deposit gets returned. Gavin says the man sounded genuinely ashamed, his voice breaking when he talked about how disappointed he is in his son. He mentioned that my ex has been cut off financially until he grows up and faces consequences for his actions. The family is fracturing over this. His parents are taking my side against their own son. I have complicated feelings about this. Relief that someone from his family sees how wrong he was. Validation that even his own father thinks his behavior was unacceptable. But also sadness that it came to this. That a family is breaking apart because their son chose cruelty and betrayal. Gavin asks if I want him to accept the father's offer, but I tell him no. We're going through the lawyer and getting everything in writing. I appreciate the gesture, but I need legal protection, not just promises. My second therapy appointment arrives and I'm less nervous this time. The therapist wants to focus specifically on the bathroom humiliation and my physical response to it. We talk about how my body reacts when I need to use a bathroom now, the panic and shame and fear that floods through me. She explains this is a normal trauma response, that my brain associated bathrooms with danger and humiliation, and now it's trying to protect me by making me avoid them. She teaches me grounding techniques, ways to calm my nervous system when the panic starts. We start working on gradual exposure therapy, small steps to help me reclaim my sense of safety. It's hard work, harder than I expected. Talking about the specific details of that moment makes me feel exposed all over again. But I'm determined not to let them steal this from me. I won't let them make me afraid in my own home, afraid of basic human needs. The therapist gives me homework, exercises to practice, ways to slowly rebuild my comfort. I leave exhausted but committed to doing the work. That weekend, mutual friends start texting me about massive drama in Anna's family. Her parents found out about the pregnancy and the affair. According to the messages I'm getting, there was a huge family meeting that turned into a screaming match. Anna's father apparently drove to my ex's apartment afterward and confronted him. Neighbors called the police for a noise disturbance. Anna's mother has been frantically calling people trying to do damage control, but the story is already everywhere. Too many people know. Too many screenshots exist. Too much evidence is out there. The social consequences are rolling out exactly like they should. Anna's family is furious she destroyed someone else's relationship and got pregnant with a man who was cheating on his partner. My ex's family is ashamed of him. Their friend group has split apart. Everyone who thought this would just blow over is realizing it won't. Actions have consequences and theirs are getting bigger every day. Anna's lawyer emails again on Monday morning. The settlement offer has changed. Full deposit plus $1,500 and they're dropping the demand for silence. Gavin forwards me the email with a note saying we're close to getting everything we asked for. They're caving. They know they can't win if this goes to court. All the evidence, all the witnesses, all the documentation of their planned harassment and attempted theft. They're desperate to settle before it gets worse. I'm learning something important through all of this. Standing firm actually works when you have truth and evidence on your side. Not backing down, not accepting their version of events, not letting them minimize what they did. Every time I held my ground, they lost more leverage. Every time I refused to be quiet or go away, they got more desperate. The power I thought they took from me on that ski trip, I'm taking it back piece by piece. Monday morning arrives and I walk back into my office building after taking a few days off. My manager approved the time without asking many questions, which I was grateful for. The elevator ride up feels longer than usual, and my hands shake a little as I walk through the main doors. My desk looks exactly the same as I left it, but everything feels different now. Within an hour of sitting down, 3 different coworkers stop by my cubicle. Sarah from accounting brings me a coffee and squeezes my shoulder without saying much. Marcus from IT drops off a card signed by half the department with messages like, "Thinking of you," and "We've got your back." I didn't realize anyone knew what happened, but apparently word travels fast. During lunch, Jennifer from HR pulls me into a conference room and tells me she heard about the situation through mutual connections on social media. She shares her own story about an ex who humiliated her at a party years ago, and how it took months to feel normal again. 2 other women join us, and suddenly I'm sitting with 4 coworkers who all have their own betrayal stories. They're not pitying me or treating me like I'm broken. They're just showing me I'm not alone in this. My boss calls me into her office at the end of the day, and I brace myself for bad news. Instead, she tells me the company has resources available if I need them. Therapy coverage, flexible work hours, time off for legal appointments, whatever I need to handle this situation. She mentions that several people reached out to her expressing concern, and the company wants to support me through this. The solidarity catches me off guard. I expected to come back to work and pretend everything was fine, to hide what happened and push through. Instead, people are acknowledging it, supporting me, treating the situation as serious as it feels. The isolation I'd been carrying starts to crack a little. I'm not facing this alone. Tuesday afternoon, I'm walking to my car in the parking lot when I see him. My ex is leaning against his car 3 spaces down from mine, arms crossed, waiting. My stomach drops and I freeze for a second before pulling out my phone. He starts walking toward me and I hold up my hand to stop him. Security. I mouth the word while dialing the front desk. He keeps coming anyway, talking about how we need to discuss things like adults, how I'm being unreasonable. The security guard arrives within 2 minutes, an older guy named Frank who I've chatted with in the elevator before. He positions himself between me and my ex, asking if there's a problem. My ex tries to play it off like he's just talking to his girlfriend, but I correct him immediately. Ex-boyfriend. Not welcome here. Trespassing. Frank radios for backup and another guard arrives. They inform my ex that he needs to leave the property immediately, or they'll call the police. He starts arguing, raising his voice about how dramatic I'm being, how he just wants to talk. Frank doesn't budge. He escorts my ex to his car and watches him drive away, then walks me to my vehicle to make sure I get out safely. The next morning, my boss helps me file paperwork for a workplace restraining order. We document the parking lot incident, include screenshots of his harassing texts, and submit everything to building security and HR. Within 48 hours, my ex receives a formal trespass warning by certified mail. If he comes back to the property, he'll be arrested. The legal boundaries are getting stronger and clearer. Every barrier we put up makes me feel a little safer, a little more protected from his attempts to control the narrative or force contact. 2 weeks after the ski trip, Gavin forwards me an email from Anna's lawyer. They're agreeing to our full settlement terms. Deposit plus $2,000, no non-disclosure agreement, and a written apology acknowledging the bathroom incident was planned harassment. I read it 3 times to make sure I'm understanding correctly. They caved completely. The check arrives via certified mail 3 days later, along with a typed letter on Anna's lawyer's letterhead. The apology is brief, but clear. Anna acknowledges she planned the bathroom incident with the intent to humiliate and cause emotional distress. She admits the timing was deliberate and the goal was to drive me away from the ski trip. She takes responsibility for her actions and apologizes for the harm caused. It's not warm or emotional, clearly written by her lawyer, but it's there in black and white. Proof that what happened wasn't in my head, wasn't an overreaction, wasn't just a joke gone wrong. Gavin comes over that evening with a cheap frame from the dollar store. He puts the apology letter in it and presents it to me like a trophy. Your prize for standing up for yourself, he says with a grin. It's ridiculous and kind of tacky, and it makes me laugh for the first time in weeks. Real laughter, not the bitter kind. I hang it in my closet where only I can see it, a private reminder that I fought back and won. Tom texts me later that week with an update about the friend group from the ski trip. Everything fell apart after I left, he tells me. 3 of the guys who laughed during the bathroom incident have completely distanced themselves from my ex. They found out about the affair, about how the whole thing was planned, and they felt used, manipulated into participating in something cruel without understanding the full context. Tom forwards me screenshots of their group chat where they're arguing about what happened. One guy, Jake, keeps saying he feels sick about the whole thing. Another, Chris, admits he wouldn't have gone along with it if he'd known the truth. The third, Devin, says my ex lied to all of them and he's done with the friendship. Over the next few days, I receive awkward apology texts from all 3. Short messages acknowledging they were wrong, they shouldn't have laughed. They feel terrible about their part in humiliating me. I don't respond to any of them yet. I'm not ready to engage, not sure if I ever will be. But knowing they recognize what happened was wrong provides some validation. The friend group that seemed so united in mocking me has fractured completely. My ex is losing his social circle piece by piece, and I didn't have to do anything to make it happen. The truth did the work for me. Nikki calls me during my lunch break with news that makes my jaw drop. My ex got fired from his job. The HR investigation into his social media conduct concluded, and the decision was termination. But it wasn't just about the ski trip posts. During the investigation, multiple female coworkers came forward with complaints about his behavior. Inappropriate comments, unwanted flirting, making women uncomfortable in meetings. The ski trip incident was the final straw that opened up a whole investigation into a pattern of misconduct. Nikki heard about it through her friend who works in his building's HR department. Apparently, he tried to fight the termination, threatened legal action, but the company had documentation of multiple incidents going back months. His social media posts about me were just the most public evidence of his disrespect toward women. By evening, he's posting vague status updates on Instagram about cancel culture and false accusations. Everyone who knows the real story can see right through it. He's trying to play the victim, but the comments on his posts tell a different story. People are calling him out, sharing their own experiences with his behavior, refusing to let him rewrite what happened. His consequences are mounting, and I didn't engineer any of them. I didn't call his workplace or contact his employer. I just stood my ground, kept my evidence, and let the truth speak for itself. Sometimes justice happens naturally when you refuse to stay quiet. Anna moves back in with her parents as the pregnancy progresses. I hear about it through mutual friends who are still watching the situation unfold like a reality show. Her relationship with my ex has become increasingly volatile, according to the reports filtering back to me. They're fighting constantly, accusing each other of trapping the other, arguing about money and responsibility, and who's to blame for the mess they're in. The upgrade he celebrated on Instagram is turning into a nightmare of his own making. She's dealing with morning sickness and doctor appointments while he's unemployed and angry. He's facing a baby he didn't plan for with a woman he cheated with, and all the excitement of their affair is gone. Now it's just reality and consequences and 2 people who built their relationship on betrayal, discovering that's not a stable foundation. I feel a strange mix of vindication and pity watching their situation implode from a distance. Part of me wants to feel satisfied that they're suffering, that karma is working exactly as it should, but another part of me just feels sad about the whole mess. A baby is coming into a situation filled with resentment and instability. 2 families are dealing with shame and disappointment. Multiple friendships have been destroyed. The damage spreads wider than just me, touching everyone connected to what they did. My 3rd therapy session brings a breakthrough I wasn't expecting. The therapist asks me to talk about the bathroom incident again, but this time focusing on what it meant beyond just the embarrassment. We dig into how it connected to deeper issues of violation and powerlessness. Being exposed in the most vulnerable moment, having people I trusted witness it and mock it, feeling like I had no control over my own body or privacy. She helps me see that my healing isn't about getting revenge on them or making them suffer. It's about reclaiming my sense of safety and agency that they tried to take from me. We work on separating my worth from his betrayal. His actions don't define my value. His choice to humiliate me says everything about his character, and nothing about mine. She gives me exercises to practice, ways to remind myself that I'm not the person on that toilet anymore. I'm the person who stood up, who fought back, who refused to accept their version of events. Small moments start happening where I feel like myself again, laughing at something genuinely funny, enjoying my coffee in the morning, going through a whole hour without thinking about what happened. The progress is slow but real. I'm healing in pieces, reclaiming my life bit by bit. 3 weeks after everything started, Cassie and Gavin take me out to dinner at a restaurant downtown. We're sitting in a booth eating appetizers when I realize I'm actually enjoying myself. Not forcing it, not pretending, but genuinely having a good time. We're laughing about something completely unrelated to the drama. Gavin is telling a story about a disaster at his office, and Cassie is adding commentary, and I'm laughing so hard my stomach hurts. The lightness feels unfamiliar after weeks of heaviness. Cassie notices it too and points it out. "You're healing," she says, reaching across the table to squeeze my hand. "Joy is coming back. You should celebrate that progress." It feels fragile but real, like I'm building something new from the wreckage of what was destroyed. The ski trip and the betrayal will always be part of my story, but they're not the whole story anymore. I'm writing new chapters now, ones where I'm stronger and smarter and surrounded by people who actually care about me. The trauma is still there, but it's losing its grip. I'm remembering who I was before all this happened, and I'm becoming someone even better. A handwritten letter arrives in my mailbox later that week. The return address shows it's from my ex's mother. Inside is 3 pages of careful handwriting and a check for $500. She writes that she's been thinking about me constantly since we last spoke. She's ashamed she raised a son capable of such cruelty, and she hopes I can find peace. The check is for my therapy costs, she explains. She knows money can't fix what happened, but she wants to contribute to my healing in some tangible way. She hopes I'll accept it as support rather than charity. The letter makes me cry, but not in a bad way. Her accountability and genuine remorse touch something in me that's been raw and angry. She didn't have to reach out again. She didn't have to acknowledge the ongoing damage her son caused. But she did, and it matters. I decide to keep the money for therapy. Not because I need it financially, but because accepting it feels like accepting support from someone who genuinely cares about making things right. It feels like building bridges instead of burning them, like choosing grace over bitterness. I finally respond to Tom's messages after weeks of silence. Thank you for being the one person who chose honesty over loyalty to my ex, I write. Your truth-telling made all the difference. We agree to meet for coffee at a place near my apartment. He shows up looking nervous, fidgeting with his cup while we make small talk. Then he apologizes in person, explaining everything. He's been examining his own complicity in toxic friend group dynamics, he says. Realizing how often he stayed silent when he should have spoken up, how he prioritized keeping the peace over doing what was right. The bathroom incident was a turning point for him. Watching everyone laugh while I cried made him see how cruel silence can be. His genuine remorse and growth impress me. He's not making excuses or minimizing what happened. He's taking real responsibility for his part in it, even though his part was mostly inaction. I tell him I forgive him and I mean it. Forgiveness feels good when it's offered to someone who earned it through real change and accountability. We talk for over an hour about everything that's happened since the ski trip. He shares updates about the friend group falling apart, about my ex's spiral, about Anna's situation. It feels good to have an honest conversation with someone who was there, who understands the full context. Tom isn't asking for anything from me. He's just offering truth and support and genuine friendship. That's worth something. I scroll through Anna's Instagram on a random Tuesday afternoon, the way you check the weather or your bank balance. Just information. No emotional charge anymore. Her latest post shows her lying in bed with her feet propped up on pillows. Caption about unexpected pregnancy complications and bed rest. The comments are all supportive messages from her family and friends. My ex isn't tagged. He's not in any of the photos her mom has been posting either, the ones showing Anna's sisters bringing her meals and keeping her company. I zoom in on one picture and notice the empty spot on her nightstand where a framed photo used to sit. Their relationship is falling apart in real time, and I feel nothing but distance from it. They're dealing with a baby neither of them planned for, families who are disappointed in both of them, and a foundation built entirely on lies and betrayal. It's not my circus anymore. Not my monkeys. I close Instagram and get back to work without a second thought. My therapist suggests I try dating again. Just casual coffee dates to practice opening up to new people. The idea makes my stomach twist. Trusting someone new with even basic information about myself feels impossible after everything. But she reminds me that staying closed off forever isn't healing. It's just hiding. So I download a dating app and immediately want to delete it. The profiles all blur together. Generic photos and boring bios. But then I see someone who lists teaching as his job and mentions loving hiking and reading. His name is Braden. His smile looks genuine in his photos, not practiced or fake. I swipe right before I can overthink it. We match within an hour. His first message is simple and kind, asking about my favorite book. We text back and forth for 3 days before he suggests meeting for coffee. I almost say no, almost make an excuse about being busy. But I think about what my therapist said about staying open, and I agree to meet him Saturday morning at a cafe near my apartment. The days leading up to it I consider canceling probably 50 times. What if he's awful? What if I have a panic attack? What if I'm not ready? But Saturday morning comes and I put on jeans and a sweater and walk to the cafe anyway. He's already there when I arrive, sitting at a corner table with 2 coffees. He stands when he sees me, and his smile is even warmer in person. We shake hands and sit down, and I'm surprised by how easy the conversation flows. He asks about my work, and I ask about his students. We talk about books and movies and places we want to travel. An hour passes without any awkward silences. Then he asks if I'm seeing anyone else, and I realize I need to be honest. I tell him I'm recovering from a really bad breakup, that it ended recently, and I'm still processing a lot. He nods and doesn't push for details. He just says he appreciates my honesty, and he's happy to take things as slowly as I need. We agree to meet again next week. When I get home, I text Cassie that the date went well, and I might actually be ready for this. She sends back about 50 excited emojis. 4 weeks after the ski trip, I wake up on a Wednesday morning and reach for my phone out of habit. I check my messages and emails and social media. I make coffee and get dressed for work. I'm halfway through breakfast when I realize I haven't thought about my ex or the bathroom incident yet. Not even once since opening my eyes. It's such a small thing, but it feels huge. Like reclaiming a piece of my brain that's been occupied by trauma for a month. I sit there with my coffee and marvel at it. The memory is still there when I look for it, but it's not the first thing anymore. It's not taking up all the space in my head. Therapy is working, time is helping, I'm genuinely healing bit by bit, and this morning is proof. I finished my breakfast feeling lighter than I have in weeks. Gavin calls me at work one afternoon and tells me my ex sent a long email to my personal account. Gavin has access to it because we set up forwarding for anything from my ex after the fake social media account started. He asks if I want him to read it to me or forward it. I pause and think about it. A month ago, I would have needed to read every word, to know exactly what he was saying. But now I realize I don't actually care. Whatever he has to say doesn't matter anymore, because I've already found my closure through healing and moving forward. I tell Gavin to delete it without reading it to me. He confirms that's what I want, and I say yes. He deletes it while we're still on the phone and tells me it's gone. I feel relief wash over me instead of curiosity. My ex's words don't have power over me anymore. I thank Gavin and get back to work feeling free. Anna's baby shower photos pop up on my Instagram feed through a mutual friend who attended. I almost scroll past, but something makes me stop and look. The decorations are blue and white, all very traditional and sweet. Anna's sitting in a chair surrounded by presents, her belly huge now, her face tired but smiling. Her mother and sisters are in most of the photos, her friends from college. But my ex isn't in a single one. Not one picture. The comments mention how lovely everything was, but nobody asks where the father is. Her family has iced him out completely based on what I'm seeing. She's facing single motherhood with only her parents' support. I feel something complicated looking at these photos. She planned the bathroom attack. She humiliated me on purpose. She's been sleeping with my boyfriend for months, but she's also trapped now in consequences of her own choices. A baby she probably didn't want with a man who won't step up. A family that's disappointed. A future that looks nothing like what she imagined. I don't celebrate her suffering, but I don't feel sorry for her either. People face accountability for their actions, and this is hers. I close Instagram and realize I'm learning something important. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting or excusing. It just means letting go of the anger so it doesn't poison me. Braden and I have been on 5 dates over 3 weeks when I decide to tell him the full story of what happened on the ski trip. We're having dinner at a quiet restaurant and he asks about my previous relationship. I take a deep breath and tell him everything. The bathroom incident. The humiliation. The affair. The pregnancy. The betrayal by multiple people I trusted. He listens without interrupting, his face serious but not judgmental. When I finish, he's quiet for a moment. Then he reaches across the table and takes my hand and says something that shifts my entire perspective. He tells me the fact that I'm still open to trusting people after that shows incredible strength. I hadn't thought of my healing as strength before. I'd been thinking of it as just survival, just getting through each day. But he's right. Choosing to stay open despite betrayal is brave. Choosing to try again with someone new takes courage. I squeeze his hand and thank him for seeing it that way. We finish dinner and walk around the neighborhood talking about lighter things. When he drops me off at my apartment, he kisses me goodnight for the first time. It's gentle and respectful, and I don't feel scared at all. My boss calls me into her office on a Friday afternoon, and I spend the walk there wondering if I'm in trouble. But when I sit down, she's smiling. She tells me I'm being promoted to senior analyst with a significant raise. I'm shocked and ask why. She explains that my work on recent projects has been exceptional, and my resilience during a difficult personal time impressed leadership. They noticed I kept showing up and delivering quality work even when I was clearly going through something hard. The promotion comes with new responsibilities and better benefits. I thank her and walk back to my desk in a daze. I text Gavin and Cassie the news and they both respond with congratulations. That night, I sit in my apartment looking at the promotion letter and realize something profound. I'm building a life that's better than what I had before. The betrayal destroyed one chapter, but it opened space for a better one. Better job, better relationship with Braden, better understanding of myself. I wouldn't have chosen this path, but I'm grateful for where it's leading. 2 months after the ski trip, I attend a friend's birthday party at a bar downtown. I'm standing by the drinks table when I see him. One of the guys who laughed during the bathroom incident. He's across the room talking to someone, but then he sees me and his face changes. He looks uncomfortable and guilty. Part of me wants to leave, but I'm not running anymore. I stay where I am. He finishes his conversation and walks over to me. He apologizes immediately, stumbling over his words. He tells me he's been in therapy working on why he participated in cruelty that night. He admits he was a coward who went along with the group instead of doing what was right. His apology sounds genuine. I can see the shame in his face. I tell him I appreciate his accountability and I forgive him. He looks relieved and thanks me. We talk for a few more minutes about how he's been working on himself. Then he excuses himself and I watch him leave. Cassie comes up behind me and asks if I'm okay. I tell her I am. Forgiveness is more for me than for them. Carrying anger hurts me more than it hurts the people who wronged me. Letting it go feels like setting down something heavy I've been carrying too long. Anna gives birth to a boy according to the announcement that appears on social media. The post is from her mother, showing a tiny baby wrapped in a blue blanket. The caption mentions Anna and the baby are both healthy and resting. It conspicuously doesn't mention my ex as the father. Doesn't mention him at all. Mutual friends start texting me about drama they've heard regarding paternity and whether he'll be involved. Apparently there's a whole mess unfolding about his rights and responsibilities. I read the messages and feel completely disconnected from their chaos. It's not my story anymore. My story is about healing and growth and building something new with Braden. Their drama is background noise that doesn't touch me. I mute the group chat and go back to planning my weekend. Cassie and I take a weekend trip together to a mountain resort 2 hours away. We deliberately choose a mountain location to reclaim that kind of experience with positive memories. The drive up is beautiful, and we blast music the whole way. We check into a cabin that's cozy and warm with a fireplace and big windows overlooking the slopes. Saturday morning we go skiing, and I'm nervous at first, worried the mountains will trigger memories of the ski trip. But Cassie stays close and we take it slow. By the afternoon, I'm laughing and racing her down easier runs. We have dinner at the resort restaurant and drink wine by the fireplace. Sunday, we ski again and explore the village shops. I don't have a single panic attack the entire weekend. No flashbacks, no tears, just fun and friendship and joy. On the drive home, Cassie tells me she's proud of how far I've come. I tell her I couldn't have done it without her support. She waves that off, but I mean it. Having people who show up matters more than anything. I'm taking back what they tried to ruin, and it feels like a victory lap. The mountains are mine again, not tainted by their cruelty. I'm reclaiming every piece of my life they tried to steal. Braden and I are sitting on his couch watching a movie when he pauses it and turns to face me. His expression is serious but warm. He takes my hand and tells me he's falling for me. The words hang in the air between us, and I wait for the panic to hit. I wait for my brain to start listing all the reasons this is dangerous. But instead, I feel this calm certainty settling into my chest. I realize I'm falling for him too. He's been patient with my anxiety about bathrooms and crowds. He's never once made me feel stupid for my trauma responses. He doesn't push when I need space, and he shows up when I need support. We talk for hours about what taking our relationship to the next level means. He asks what I need to feel safe, and I tell him honestly. He listens to every word and promises to respect my boundaries. My capacity for trust wasn't broken forever. It just needed time and the right person to heal with. Braden is that person. Tom texts me a few days later with news about my ex. His Instagram account went completely dark after months of bitter posts about being misunderstood and victimized. Tom heard through mutual friends that my ex moved to another state for a fresh start. He's running from the reputation he built here. People know what he did, and they don't want to be associated with him anymore. Anna is raising the baby with her parents helping full-time. She blocked everyone connected to the ski trip on social media. Tom says she's isolated herself completely from the friend group. Their story is ending in loneliness and regret, while mine is opening into connection and happiness. I feel oddly detached from this information. They're just people I used to know who made terrible choices. Their consequences belong to them now. I walk into my therapist's office for what turns out to be a milestone session. She reviews my progress over the past 3 months and suggests we move to monthly maintenance sessions instead of weekly. My trauma responses have gotten so much better. I can use public bathrooms without having panic attacks. I sleep through the night without nightmares about being exposed and humiliated. I've rebuilt my sense of safety in my own body and in my daily life. The work was incredibly hard. There were sessions where I cried for the entire hour. There were weeks where I felt like I was moving backwards instead of forward. But it paid off in reclaiming my peace. My therapist tells me she's proud of how committed I've been to healing. I leave her office feeling lighter than I have in months. Gavin comes over for dinner at my apartment, and we talk about everything that's happened since the ski trip. He tells me he's proud of how I handled the whole situation. I pursued justice without becoming consumed by revenge. I healed without rushing the process. I stayed open to love despite being betrayed in the worst way. His words make my eyes fill with tears. I tell him I'm proud of myself too. I could have let this destroy me. I could have become bitter and closed off to any future relationships. But instead, I let the experience refine me into someone stronger and wiser. Gavin raises his glass and toasts to my resilience. We spend the rest of the evening laughing and talking about happier things. Having my brother's support through all of this meant everything. 6 months after the ski trip, I'm sitting with Braden looking at vacation destinations on my laptop. We're planning a trip to somewhere warm and beautiful. Maybe a beach resort or a tropical island. Somewhere completely different from snowy mountains and ski lodges. We're talking about future plans while we browse. He mentions wanting me to meet his family, his parents and his younger sister. The idea of being brought into someone's life again used to terrify me. Meeting family felt like a huge commitment that could blow up in my face. But now it feels exciting instead of scary. I'm ready to build something real with someone who actually deserves my trust. Braden has earned that through consistent actions over months. I tell him I'd love to meet his family, and he lights up with this genuine smile. I'm at the grocery store picking up ingredients for dinner when I see Anna's mother in the produce section. She recognizes me immediately and walks over. My first instinct is to leave, but I stay put. She apologizes for her daughter's actions. She tells me Anna has expressed regret about the bathroom incident, though she hasn't reached out to me directly. Her mother seems genuinely sorry and embarrassed by the whole situation. I tell her I've forgiven Anna for my own peace, even if we'll never speak again. Forgiveness doesn't require us to have a relationship or pretend what happened was okay. It just means I'm not carrying anger around anymore. Her mother looks relieved and thanks me for my grace. We part ways and I continue shopping. The encounter doesn't shake me the way it might have months ago. Tom sends me a wedding invitation in the mail. He's engaged to someone new and he wants me to attend with Braden. I'm genuinely happy for him. He did the right thing by telling me the truth about the bathroom attack, even though it was hard. He's been working on himself in therapy and becoming a better person. The fact that I can celebrate his happiness despite our complicated history shows how far I've come. I'm not carrying bitterness anymore. I'm carrying wisdom and clear boundaries and actual joy. Brayden and I RSVP yes to the wedding. I buy a dress and mark the date on my calendar. Going to this wedding feels like closing a chapter in a healthy way. My boss sends me to a conference in another city to present on a major project I led at work. I'm standing at the podium in front of hundreds of people talking about strategy and results. My voice is steady and confident. I'm answering questions and engaging with the audience. Afterwards, several people come up to tell me how impressive my presentation was. I realize how much my confidence has grown since the ski trip. The person who sat crying on that toilet feeling powerless and humiliated feels like a different version of me. I've changed in fundamental ways. I've turned pain into purpose, betrayal into boundaries, trauma into proof of my own resilience. The growth didn't happen overnight, but it happened. Brayden and I decide to move in together. We find an apartment that's perfect for both of us. 2 bedrooms so we each have space, a kitchen with good light, a bathroom with a lock that actually works. Moving day arrives and I'm surprised by how safe and natural the whole thing feels. We're creating a home together. Our space with our rules and our privacy that's respected. The bathroom in our new place has a solid lock and Brayden never barges in. It becomes a sanctuary instead of a trigger. I can take long baths without anxiety. I can use the toilet without fear. I've fully reclaimed what they tried to take from me. Every room in this apartment represents healing and new beginnings. A message request pops up on social media from someone I don't know. A woman named Sarah who experienced something similar to my bathroom incident. She found my story through mutual friends and wants advice on healing from public humiliation and betrayal. I spend over an hour writing back to her. I tell her about therapy and how it saved me. About setting boundaries with people who minimized what happened. About giving herself time to heal without rushing. About building a support system of people who actually show up. About refusing to let cruelty define her capacity for joy in the future. I share resources and encouragement. Helping someone else process their trauma gives my own experience meaning beyond just my personal healing. Maybe something good can come from what happened to me if it helps other people survive their own nightmares. I wake up on a random Tuesday and realize the bathroom incident didn't cross my mind yesterday. Or the day before that. The whole ski trip feels like something that happened to a different version of me. Not the person I am now. My therapist mentioned this would happen eventually. Called it integration or something like that. The trauma is still part of my story, but it doesn't control my thoughts anymore. I can go hours without remembering. Sometimes entire days. That feels like the biggest victory of all. Bigger than the settlement money or the apologies. I'm free from it living in my head constantly. Cassie comes over for dinner at the apartment Brayden and I share. She's looking around at our space, the photos on the walls, the comfortable furniture we picked out together. She tells me she's never seen me this happy. Not just happy in moments, but genuinely content with my whole life. She points out that if my ex hadn't betrayed me, I'd still be with someone who didn't value me. I'd be stuck in a relationship that was rotting from the inside while I had no idea. The worst thing that ever happened to me led directly to the best things in my life. She's not saying the pain didn't matter, or that I should be grateful for trauma. She's just acknowledging that I grew from it, that I built something better from the wreckage. I realize she's right. The life I have now with Brayden is so much healthier than what I had before. Tom's wedding invitation arrives in the mail a few weeks later. He's marrying someone new and he wants both me and Brayden to attend. I RSVP yes without hesitation. The wedding is at a nice venue with beautiful decorations. Several people from the ski trip are there, which makes things slightly awkward at first. But mostly it's fine. I'm gracious when I see them, friendly even. They seem relieved that I'm not carrying visible wounds anymore, that I'm not making things uncomfortable by being bitter or angry. One of the guys who laughed during the bathroom incident pulls me aside near the bar. He tells me that seeing me happy and thriving made him realize the real impact of what they did that night. He's been working on himself, trying to be a better person. I thank him for his growth and I mean it. Watching people learn from their mistakes actually feels good. A letter arrives for me through Tom about a month after his wedding. It's from Anna. My hands shake a little when I open it because I'm not sure what to expect. She apologizes for the bathroom incident and acknowledges it was cruel and planned ahead of time. She doesn't make excuses or try to justify what she did. She's not asking for forgiveness or trying to restart a friendship. She's just taking accountability for her actions. I read the letter once, let it sit with me for a few minutes, then file it away in a drawer. Her apology doesn't change my healing process, because I've already done that work without needing her validation. But it does confirm what I already knew deep down. What happened was wrong and even she knows it now. Brayden plans a weekend trip to the mountains a few months later. We're hiking up to this beautiful overlook when he stops and gets down on one knee. My heart starts racing, but in a good way, an excited way. He tells me he wants to spend his life with someone who's as strong and genuine as I am. He pulls out a ring and asks me to marry him. I say yes immediately without even thinking about it. This moment is the complete opposite of every painful memory from that ski trip. I'm choosing a partner who sees my worth and would never humiliate me. We're building a future based on actual trust and respect and real love. The ring on my finger feels like a promise of safety, like he's committing to protect my dignity the way a partner should. We stay on that mountain for hours just talking about our future together. Planning the wedding becomes this joyful experience that takes up most of my free time. Cassie is my maid of honor and she's helping me pick out flowers and decorations. Gavin agrees to walk me down the aisle since our dad isn't in the picture anymore. Our guest list is full of people who actually showed up during the hardest time of my life. Everyone who laughed at me or minimized what happened isn't invited. This celebration is going to be everything that Ski Trip wasn't. Genuine and loving and safe. I'm surrounded by people who actually care about me as I make these plans. Brayden is patient when I get overwhelmed by details, always reminding me that the important part is us committing to each other. The rest is just a party. Tom mentions my ex's name one last time during a phone call about wedding planning. Apparently my ex is in another relationship now and it's already showing the same toxic patterns. Tom heard through mutual friends that the new girlfriend is dealing with the same manipulation and cruelty I experienced. I feel nothing but pity for her, and relief that he's someone else's problem now. My life has moved so far beyond him that he's just a character in a story I sometimes tell about growth and resilience. He's not someone I think about anymore unless his name comes up in conversation. Even then, it's just a brief moment before I move on to something more important. 10 months after the ski trip, I'm standing in my therapist's office for what we both agree will be my final regular session. She asks how I'm doing, and I take a minute to really think about it. I realize I'm genuinely happy. Not performing happiness or almost happy or happy with reservations. I'm truly content with my life. The bathroom incident is just a memory now. Something that happened but doesn't have power over me anymore. I healed from it, and grew from it, and built something beautiful from all that pain. My therapist smiles and tells me she's proud of the work I've done. She reminds me I can always come back if I need to, but she thinks I have all the tools now to handle whatever comes next. Walking out of her office feels like closing a chapter in the healthiest possible way. Brayden and I set our wedding date for next spring. We're looking at venues and tasting cakes and doing all the normal engaged couple things. I'm excited about the future instead of anxious about it. I've learned that betrayal doesn't have to close your heart permanently if you're willing to do the hard work of healing. I'm marrying someone who would never humiliate me, who protects my dignity as naturally as breathing, who loves me with actual integrity. That's the life I'm choosing now, and it's so much better than what I lost. Sometimes I think about the girl I was with my ex, and I'm grateful she had the strength to leave. She deserved better, and now she's getting it. My ex's mother reaches out and asks if she can meet me and Brayden for coffee. I'm hesitant at first, but Brayden encourages me to go, says it might provide closure. We meet at a cafe and she tears up the moment she sees me. She tells me how happy she is that I found someone good, that I'm glowing in a way I never did with her son. She asks Brayden to take care of me and he promises he will without hesitation. Then she hands us an envelope with a generous check inside as a wedding gift. She says she's grateful I found the love her son was too broken to provide. It's a strange full circle moment that I wasn't expecting. Bittersweet, but somehow healing. We hug before leaving and I realize I've forgiven his whole family for raising someone who hurt me. They're not responsible for his choices, and they've shown me more accountability than he ever did. I wake up on a Tuesday morning and pad into the bathroom that Brayden and I share, still half asleep but feeling good. The mirror shows me with messy hair and yesterday's makeup smudged under my eyes, but I'm smiling as I reach for my toothbrush. I start humming while I brush my teeth. Then the humming turns into actual singing, some random song from the radio stuck in my head. I'm doing a little dance while I wash my face, swaying my hips and feeling completely comfortable in this space. It hits me suddenly that I'm singing in a bathroom. The same kind of room where the worst thing that ever happened to me took place and I'm not even thinking about it. This bathroom isn't a trigger anymore. It's just where I get ready in the morning, where I'm safe with someone who loves me. I catch my own eye in the mirror and realize this is what victory looks like. Not some dramatic moment of revenge or justice. Just me being happy and free in a space that used to make me panic. The bathroom at the ski house tried to break me, but here I am months later singing off key while I put on moisturizer, completely reclaimed and whole. Later that week, I'm sitting at our kitchen table with wedding magazines spread everywhere, sticky notes marking pages of dresses and flowers and venues. Brayden's at work and I have the afternoon off, so I'm deep into planning mode, making lists and checking prices and feeling excited about our future. But then I pause with my pen hovering over a checklist, and I think about that girl who was crying on the toilet at the ski house, humiliated and exposed and broken. I want to reach back through time and tell her that everything's going to be okay, that this awful moment is going to lead somewhere beautiful. I want her to know she's going to leave that bathroom and that boyfriend and that whole toxic situation, and she's going to build something so much better. She's going to be happy and successful and loved by someone who actually deserves her. She's going to wake up singing in bathrooms without even thinking about what happened. The worst moment of my life turned into the catalyst for becoming the best version of myself, and I'm grateful for the strength I found when I needed it most. I'm grateful I left. Grateful I fought for the deposit. Grateful I went to therapy. Grateful I stayed open to love even after betrayal. That girl crying on the toilet couldn't see any of this coming, but I wish I could tell her she's going to be free.